the OG on the marquee Jaybird, and the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We're not the Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the Dawn.
It's Valentine's Day, and in the Hassle Castle, it's Palentine's Day. That intro, I need to change it up. I mean, we should literally just have a break, and then I can just enter in names as it goes. T-Roy's out. He's having his Valentine's Day afternoon thing. We have the XFL to talk about later. And all I send to him is a text and says, I say, give me your XFL picks, and he says, send me the matchups. I mean, he seriously does like nothing. He's like, yeah, just send me the matchups.
Just go on the ESPN app.
Yeah, he could very easily like Google it on his phone while he's sitting there. But oh well. And
there's only 8 teams.
Yeah, there's 4 games. It's not like send me the matchups. Erickson's in here. Good to have you in here, Matt.
Matt, the Stat Cat.
There you go. Vasco's in.
Feeling the love today.
Yeah, that's right. And Adam Jones is in from Front Street. My friend, what did you bring today?
Well, I mean, for Valentine's Day, I thought that we'd bring 2 beers that couple up nicely. So
Oh!
we got our Vanilla Porter and our Cherry Bomb Blonde. Both are great on their own, but they're very good mixed together as well.
Wow, that's pretty fitting that you have a 2 beers that are a perfect duo, right?
Correct.
Because as Eric and I were talking via text, we were kind of going through things like what we should do, and then came up with we got to come up with some sports duos, and we're gonna make a top 10 list maybe.
Yeah.
Of your list.
Yeah.
Us together, we have to do that. Obviously, I already mentioned we got to pick our XFL games. You went 3-1 last week, Adam.
Can I say I'm dialed into the XFL?
3-1. We have some news there as well. We need to check a line and see if something's moved because they made a change in Tampa Bay. We got to look at the Iowa game a little bit. Not long because not too much fun. We've got an All-Star game coming up, the NBA All-Star weekend, so there are no games tonight. We get to play a game, dunker, not a dunker, where we get to do, did they win an NBA All-Star game slam dunk title or not? Collective minds get to figure that out. And then in the second hour, we have an interview. We're going to bring in Nick Trezino and Brody Grothus, former Iowa high school state wrestling champions, and 2 guys who also wrestled for the University of Iowa. Tomorrow is going to be district wrestling, and for 2 young kids at each district, they're going to go on to the state tournament, and their dream to be on top of the podium is going to continue tomorrow. So we'll talk to those guys about growing up, wrestling, what they had to put into, and getting on how they got to the top of the podium, what that was like, and then also their recruiting, how they got into Division I wrestling and their experiences there. They're 2 great guys. They called the MAC Conference Championship for us when we put it on Facebook Live. So I'm really excited to talk to them. So that'll be in the hour. But anyway, Vasco, this is it. This is it. I want to thank you right away for I don't know, blindly just listening to Jay one time and putting us on the air when we were a podcast, and then turn around, we said, like, you got to come on a podcast, and you did, and then, coming in here every week, there's a bunch of knuckleheads, and you joined us, and, I mean, you're the respected media, we're just the ding-dong, so.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Back to the roots, when we did it out of Pines, just doing the podcast out of there and moving here. It's been a fun ride.
And how long have you been in the Quad Cities now?
This will be like almost 3.5 years.
All right.
Yeah. Lots happened.
Yeah. And when you came here, what did you expect?
I don't know. I mean, I did expect a lot of Hawkeyes, Hawkeye country for sure, so that didn't disappoint. But I wasn't sure. I mean, I'd never even heard of the Quad Cities, and despite living in Illinois my whole life. But I didn't realize how rich the high school sports culture was here until I really got here and realized how many schools there were and how many great teams there were, basketball, wrestling, especially. Football's huge out here, the rivalries, just everything was exceeded my expectations from that perspective. There was never a dull day out here covering sports. There's so much to do, and the people of Quad Cities have been great. It's been awesome to report on their stories and just talk with people out here, meet some great individuals as well.
Yeah, and I mean, can't hurt when it's like -6 when you wake up today, knowing that you're going to be driving to Carolina.
Count the minutes,
You still better root for the Hawkeyes.
I'll root for the Hawkeyes for sure. But, covering Clemson out there, it's going to be like dialed in Clemson the whole time, I'm sure. But I'm definitely going to keep tabs on the Hawkeyes, see what they're doing. And also just keep tabs on the sports out here as well. I got friends that are coaches for various schools and stuff, so I'll definitely be very well staying tuned into what's going on out here for sure.
You'll be the absolute man when it's Iowa versus Clemson.
Right? I'll be the go-to guy here. Let's go.
No doubt about that. Can you pour me one, Adam?
Yeah.
Do you get one?
Sure.
Yeah, mix it, please. Yeah, so like I said, we're going to have a fun show and get to goof around today.
You don't have to use it, but here's your...
I got a Palatine's. Oh!
Here's your... You said you wanted one for the studio.
Yeah, who said that? Was that Troy?
Yeah.
Did you make this?
No, it's Amazon, actually.
So
only
this is
$16.
all right, so Erickson just handed me a beer bomb. And I'm not going to beer bomb in Front Street. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But they...
never been used.
No, yeah, when did we have this... What were we having this conversation about?
Just a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I remember.
We need a beer bomb for the studio, so I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Look at this.
Brewery does not condone these.
Responsible drinking. Is this for me?
Yeah.
Hey, but it's the quickest way to hydrate. Pour a bunch of water in there,
Yeah,
get the kids hydrated
that's
real
what it's
quick,
for, That's what it's for. That is fantastic. Real quick, let's recap the game last night. Iowa at Indiana. It was not good from jump.
No.
I mean, that's just the way it was. Another one of those Purdue type of games. Oddly enough,
A lot of whistles late too,
Yeah.
but it's just you couldn't avoid some of those disastrous possessions. They just couldn't get over the hump. Despite Garza putting up, 38?
yeah,
38 points.
So my buddy sent me this. Big Dyke sent me this because we were doing the whole Franuary thing, the Fran swoon, whatnot, on a text thread that I'm on. Been on Iowa one for 10 years now, I think. And then, I'm sorry, Martin sent this. Whatever else, my buddy Martin. He says that Iowa since Fran's been the coach, Iowa is 37-45 in the first half of the Big Ten schedule, and 41-41 in the second half coming into this year. So everyone gives Fran a hard time and says, the swoon's coming, but he's 500 in the second half going into this year.
Yeah.
So it's just those are the games, and we talked about it yesterday. That was that you need to win 2 out of these 3 on the road, and you guys lost 1. Now
Unless they could pull something out of their hat late and go on a 3-game winning streak against Michigan State, Penn State, and all those guys. But like Adam was saying yesterday, it's a very tall task. These games right here are the ones that you really need to win and make sure. Tough one. It's another Big Ten road loss,
And now you're looking at more of a 6 seed instead of a 5.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Garza was great again. Still up for, he still made the semifinals of all these awards. He's fantastic. I know on Twitter someone was like, "Oh, Fran can't recruit, get out of there." Someone fired back like, "Yeah, 4-star in Garza, 4-star in Cook, and then a possible, 5-star in Wheezy." So just relax a little bit.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to ride it out.
Yeah, exactly.
You went to the concert last night.
Yeah, I went to Jason Aldean. It was a great concert. Tax Slayer was sold out, and we had pit tickets, so he was from me to you, and not exactly a great place to take your wife. If you're for Valentine's Day when her heartthrob is yeah. So no, it was a great time. The beer lines were a little long, but it was funny after the concert. We're leaving, and all these girls wearing Daisy Dukes and skirts, not properly dressed.
Yeah, go out into the negative 6-degree weather for sure.
Everybody was running. It was fun.
I'm surprised your ears are okay, man. Standing that close, those concerts can get pretty loud.
It
that's
was
for sure.
It was loud, but it was really good. He put on a great show. It was a great time.
Adam, were you at the show?
I was not.
Me neither. That came and went. I didn't even know
I didn't
until
know
like
they were coming.
like 2 days ago. I was like, oh, that guy's coming.
I feel like that happens to me a lot around here anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, oh crap, when were they here, you know?
Yeah. And when I say that guy, I really don't know much. If you give me a song, I'm like, oh, I think I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But
You definitely have heard Dirt Road, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I,
Any old bar stool.
was he like the I Wish Grandpa's Never Died guy?
No, but that guy was there.
Oh, really?
He opened for him, yes.
Oh.
That's John Party.
I don't like that song either. It's too sad. It's just so sad. I gotta turn this off. I don't want that's morbid. I don't know. No. And then you know what's getting worse than the Snapchat or the videos or the Facebook Live of the concert? The people commenting that I don't have to go to the concert because I can watch your Snapchat. That's getting worse.
That's a trendy comment too, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
to be like, I guess Jason Aldean was there. Yeah. So, anyway.
No, I didn't get to watch the game, but I did watch some highlights, and it looked like Garza does what he does. It looks like we were slow getting back. It looks like we kind of got ran off the court again a little bit.
Yeah.
It looked like Joe Toussaint didn't have a great game either. Was turning the ball over and just Garza with no help.
Yeah.
And bad perimeter defense.
We didn't have a great game, you know,
Yep.
and you know they were trying to get more physical, drive to the bucket and stuff like that, but it just wasn't working out. And before you know it, I mean, you dig yourself a hole in college basketball. It's hard to get back. So.
Will we bounce back against Minnesota, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Minnesota's probably their best chance to get a win
On the road.
on the road.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
And you know, we'll see how they match up with. You know, I know Rosso has Penn State as the 1 seed, but you know, I think Iowa could give them some trouble. So we'll see how that works out down the stretch here. But yeah, we're getting into some tough games.
That's where you insert the Big Ten home games. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, that's the
go-to.
Yeah. Before we go to break, just do some housekeeping. We talked yesterday about the apology by the Astros, and although they, there's been plenty of time and things handed down, and you think the PR department would really put together a tight type of apology.
Yeah, with how long they've had to do it.
Yeah, instead,
if you could call it an apology.
yeah, Altuve and Bregman spoke for about 90 seconds apiece, and then Jim Crane questioned whether or not the sign stealing did anything, and then he backtracked on a couple things. But like Bregman just said, his quote was, "I'm really sorry about the choices that were made by our team, the organization, and by me." Altuve said, "We had a great team meeting last night, and the whole organization team feels bad about what happened in 2017.
Oh, you don't say.
We especially feel remorse for our fans in the game of baseball." And owner Crane said, "Our opinion is this didn't impact the game."
That's absurd. We did it, but like it wasn't helping us. We just decided to do it because we were already doing
He
it.
went on to say, "We won the World Series and we leave it at that." And then 55 seconds later, when someone asked him, "How do you feel like it didn't impact the game?" We did that. His quote was, "I didn't say it didn't impact the game." So a minute later.
Oh man, this is yeah.
The problem here is what you're looking at is the things that we've listed, and then kind of more the things that Manfred's going to have to deal with. Last year we talked a lot about the juice balls and then the unjuiced balls. Trevor Bauer going on Twitter and calling his, I don't know, the boss, but his commissioner a joke, and went on a rant about the state of baseball. The rule changes, I don't know if it's unpopular or not. It's just something different, you know?
Yeah.
The three batter minimum and the 20 seconds, speed it up. I don't think it's going to make that much difference
Yeah.
in the end.
It's hard to have an opinion too when you don't see it in practice.
The minor league cuts is the thing that sucks, and no one wants to see that. There's going to be a potential lockout coming up in the 2021 season, and it's a drop in attendance. There was roughly 68.5 million fans attended Major League Baseball games in 2019, which is it's continued a downward trend. Every year it's gone down, and from a high of 79.5 in 2007, it's just gone down. So it's 15% down in that amount of time. So we are excited. Pitchers and catchers are reporting, but I think we talked about it, and everyone else has. You've got to make it that it's that you can watch it no matter where you are. You can't block out games. That's the crazy thing. It's so. Do you guys go to a lot of games? Do you attend them?
Like minor league or?
No, in Major League.
Yeah. I haven't been to one. I went to one last year. Yeah, last year for my anniversary. Heidi and I went down there, got some real nice seats in Wrigley.
Okay.
And saw a game, and yeah, it was a good time. I finally got to see the jumbotron. It had been a while since I had been out there.
I don't think I went last year to Wrigley. When you?
I went twice last year to Wrigley. I try and go to like 1 or 2 games a year, but Wrigley's been more and more expensive, obviously, in recent years. So, and it's tough to get all the way down there sometimes. But I'm gonna regret probably now not going as often because I'm gonna miss Wrigley a lot and just Chicago in general. But you know, it is what it is.
Adam, you go to Major League games?
I try to, especially if we're like traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, if it's kind of a team we try to go. I mean, we went to 2 games in Cincinnati last year, and we went to a spring training game. We were in Phoenix.
Oh wow, that's something I want to do. I want to go down to spring training.
It's a blast, man. I highly enjoy it because you can make a day of it and see 2 or 3 games around the area. A lot of good teams.
It's pretty casual too, right?
Yeah, I mean there's smaller parks. Everything's a lot more easy to get in and out of.
Sure.
Yeah, you never know who you're gonna see playing that day. So.
Plus, you bring your golf clubs, right? You have to down there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jay 7-iron.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that your go-to?
No, I can't.
Because
golf.
that's my go-to. I shoot 7 iron for
The joke is
average.
it was 2 years ago. I was at I went to Top Golf, and I was doing really well scoring, but it's because I could hit my 7-iron 90 yards in a slice, and it would keep going into the and then everyone's just like, wait a minute, 90 yards. I'm like, is that bad? They're like, that's really bad. I'm like, but I kept scoring points.
You kept
over
getting
the,
it. It's consistent. I mean,
it's like I'm like in the lead with, I'm in the running with whoever.
Whatever it takes to win.
That's
You
where
know?
top golf differs a little bit from like being on the course.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to hit it straight, but the thing was like over there, and it just kept going in this net, and I was like, look, I'm getting points, so it works for me. All right, Adam, tell me about the beers that we're pairing here, because we have to, when we come back, we got to take a look at some duos, because it's Valentine's Day, and we got to look at sports duos.
Yeah, absolutely. Our duo today is 2 of our year-round core beers. We got our Cherry Bomb Blonde, which most people know about, and then our Vanilla Porter as well. And then you can mix these 2 together for a Cherry Vanilla Bomber. It kind of turns it into like a chocolate-covered cherry almost in flavor, but it lightens up the porter a little bit for those that aren't real into dark beer. So perfect for a day like this. Great duo.
Is it 50-50 ratio?
However you like. Most people go pretty much 50-50. I like mine a little bit more porter heavy and just a little bit of that cherry.
Yeah,
Some
I think
people
I'd
like to
that
go the other way.
too.
So
Yeah, but it's very good that way.
Yeah.
This way.
Definitely, it's kind of a taproom secret, but we package both of these beers so you can pick them both up on the shelf and take them home and do this.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, and if you're looking for some last-minute gifts, we went to our friends at localsloveus.com to look up some places, and there's 2 spots that you can go if you want to get some chocolate for your companion. So the Shameless Chocoholic is in LeClaire at 200 Jones Street, and there's also one in Moline at 1526 River Drive. You can pick up some chocolates there. They've got handmade chocolates. That's at the Shameless Chocoholic. There's over 120 varieties of truffles, buttercreams, and fudge. And chocolates are handmade locally in premises in Moline in LeClaire, like I said. Just something nice to pick up if you want to do that. Also, you can go to Knees. These are local places. You know we like to support those. Flowers by Jerry and the Jeweled Leaf in Coleman. These are places that you should go to at the last minute if you haven't picked up a gift yet, which I haven't. So doing it something soon. But like Erickson, he takes his lady friend to the concert. But if you didn't do that, go to those places and check it out. And those are our friends from Locals Love Us brought that to us and said, hey, you gotta talk about these places. So you know what? You're absolutely right, because it's Valentine's Day. All right, when we come back, the best sports duos, and we're gonna put them in a top 10.
This is UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us. We're local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Ace Muffler Clinic has been serving the Quad Cities area for over 60 years. There's a reason why our customers continue to trust us with their vehicles. We can fix almost anything. We can fix your muffler, tune your brakes, change your oil, change your tires, replace your battery, customize your exhaust, tune your engine, repair your suspension, replace your radiator and your water pump. Align your automobile, refill your transmission fluid, and change your filters. And we believe in doing all those things right the first time. For fast, friendly service, visit Ace Muffler Clinic at 4th Ave and 15th Street in Rock Island.
Escúchame, it is Dan Le Batard on ESPN Radio.
It is funny to have a coach say, no, I didn't mean to call them thugs. I meant to call them slugs. And I just want to officially parse the dumbest possible way we could ever discuss race in sports. Did the old guy mean slugs or thugs? If he meant thugs, racist. If he meant slugs, just good coaching. Maybe he's just old and made a verbal mistake because they fly around a lot and he's old. It is a great defense, though. It really is, because I believe him. I believe that he meant to say slugs.
I mean, it's really the only defense you can go to, right?
Racist!
I'm old. I meant to say slugs.
No, slugs! I'm just old and doddering. I'm not racist. Just old.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
In walks this 24-year-old brown-haired lady nurse, and she goes, I'm going to be the one removing your catheter. Oh, God. Then she goes, I have to tell you this. She goes, I've never actually done this before. What? Well, go practice on a dead guy.
Don't miss Billingval, live for 2 shows Friday, March 6th, Rhythm City Casino Resort. Tickets on sale now at rhythmcitycasino.com, by phone, and in person at the Market Gift Shop.
Escúchame, it is Dan Le Batard on ESPN Radio.
How much time did Lucio spend brushing your eyebrows?
It's just a quick little and another on the other side.
I feel like maybe save the eyebrow brushing time and focus a little more on the hair brushing time.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's another issue.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Like, what am I going to do with this and then just put, like, headphones on top of it and mess it up? Lucio, I don't want to ruin his art.
You're in the awkward stage right now of, like, the haircuts where before, obviously, you'd kind of, like, buzz it. Now it's grown to a point where it's not long enough to actually do anything with, but it's too long to just sit still.
It's one of those deals where I'm, like, thinking to myself, man, what am I going to do with my hair, whatever? I live on television. You're just going to have to be vulnerable, deal with the awkwardness, and then, 2 years from now, brave, baby.
How'd you guys feel about I live on television?
I have been ever since his Le Batard load management nonsense.
Yes, I didn't ask for any of this.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Are you gun curious? At Davenport Guns, we offer training for everyone from beginners to experts. Do you prefer private lessons? We have that too. Davenport Guns has the only true climate-controlled range in the area, and along with the video action training system, you won't find a better, safer way to have fun. Plus, with everything from battleships to zombies, you'll never be bored. Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club, where making everyone feel welcome is what we do.
School return to the Tax Slayer Center this weekend. Friday is Hockey Hugs for Charity Night, presented by the Radisson on John Deere Commons. Enjoy $2 beers and hot dogs until the puck drops with your special someone, and for $10 you can get a hug from a Storm player. Saturday night is Mossy Oak Night, presented by Key Auto Mall and WHBF. Stay after the game for a live camo jersey auction, and Sunday is YMCA Day with a special 1 o'clock start. All tickets are just $10, and you can bring your dog to the game for just $5. Get your tickets online at QuadCityStorm.com.
When you're listening to the best sports talk in the Quad Cities, you know you're listening to the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
All right, welcome back to ESPN 1170 AM. Talk about a good duo. That's Cheech and Chong right there. So we're gonna look at duos, famous duos, power duos in sports. But we were talking off the air, and it was you would say at the time Tiger and his caddy, but then he fired his guy, right?
Yeah.
Vasco brought up Tiger and Tiger's duo, and I said, did you guys see hole 1 yesterday at Genesis? Tiger, he had him. There's like 2 other golfers, all had got together with Nike and made custom shoes for Kobe. But he wore his at the practice driving range. He didn't wear them yesterday. But hole 1, He got a birdie, but he sank the putt from 24 feet 8 inches.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. And then he had an eagle.
How about that?
Then he had an eagle.
What are the odds?
On hole number 8 that had a special flag that had for Kobe, and then he did the Kobe to his caddy after he set an eagle. Sports, man.
Awesome.
See?
It's cool.
Yeah.
People rally together, man.
Yeah.
Sports brings people together.
And that's what I was watching at about 5:40 this morning. Shaking my head like, what am I going to do with this? And little did I know you were going to bring it.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it until you brought up Kobe. All right, so you've got, Erickson, you made a list of duos. Because it's Valentine's, you can couple up. And we need to look at some sports couples and maybe make a list of the top 10. And I don't know if we're going to make it the most dominant or if we just round out top 10. But you've got a list, and if we can add anybody, let's add some people, and then we'll round it out from there. All right?
Yeah, and if you guys have any on the Harrington's Facebook comment line, let me know. But these are I came up with 12. Let's throw out a couple and let's try to put a top 10 list together.
All right.
So these are in no particular order. Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux,
All right.
Stockton Malone, Montana and Rice.
All right, slow it down.
Sorry.
All right, Montana and Rice.
Yep.
Okay.
The Babe and Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Brady and Gronkowski. Magic and Kareem.
Mm-hmm.
Young and Rice. So Rice is on here twice. And that rhymes. Jordan and Pippen.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Manning and Marvin Harrison.
I can just feel the fingers going crazy right now. It's Jordan Pippen, that's it. It's Jordan and Pippen. And that's your list. All right, you said who? Manning and Harrison?
Yep, Marvin Harrison. Yep.
Yeah.
LeBron and D Wade. Kobe and Shaq.
Okay.
And the Splash Brothers, Stephen and Clay.
All right. Okay. All right, so you're going to leave off anybody from the Packers, huh? You're not going to do
No, my wild...
Rodgers and Jordy, or who Kyle here said wrote Favre and Freeman?
No, we're going to redo this list next year, and it's going to be Rodgers and Odell Beckham Jr.
There you go.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Okay. Mahomes and Kelsey, Reimer said also that's a little early. Okay. Guys, do you have any extras on here?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull were dominant
Mm-hmm.
in the 60s for the Hawks, and were unprecedented success in terms of being the first $1 million contract guys and leading to a couple Stanley Cup appearances. So I think those guys could probably rival that.
And then we mentioned it, and Mitch just mentioned it on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread, Gretzky and Messier.
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Mitch also wrote Mantle and Maris.
Like that?
Yeah, that's I mean, they actually live together too.
Yeah.
So I mean, they got something else going on with them.
How about Bobby Bonilla and Contracts?
Yeah, that's a really
That's
really
a great
good
duo right
that's
there.
That's a really good duo. That's a gift that keeps on giving there, Clark.
Every year.
Yeah, that's right.
This is own interest for me, but just thinking on the other side of the ball for one of these, like a Freeney Mathis, or is there, a defensive duo out there that?
That's true. You could say like Mean Joe Green and Jack Lambert or something like that too, like just dominant defenders that work together.
Well,
there's probably a lot.
Yeah.
Freeney Mathis is a good one though. Those guys were destructive for a
Glavin and
long
Maddox,
time.
although they have all those NL East titles, they only have one World Series. Would Schilling and Johnson get in there? That was only one. That's, I mean,
baseball is such a hard one for me on this because I just consider that like such more of a team sport to think of it in terms of a duo. It's tough.
Mitch wrote Freeney and Mathis, good call. Do you guys just sit around the brewery and just talk about the Colts together?
Urlacher and Briggs. That was a good duo.
That was a good duo.
Those guys were
very
dominant.
good duo.
Well, I mean, we could just go through the 85, 86 Bears
Yeah,
and do the,
yeah,
the
that's what
entire
I'm
Super Bowl
saying.
shuffle.
Every-
The Grammy-nominated, you got Richard Dent,
Gale
Wilbur
Sayers and
Marshall.
Brian Piccolo, man.
Oh, my goodness. That's a great one. If you will like movies. I mean, if you want to sad movies or whatever else, I don't know.
Felt like Jeter A-Rod.
Jeter
Oh,
A-Rod.
yeah, that's a good one, too.
And that's just, yeah.
Judge and Stanton, they were that year.
Mhm.
They were dominant.
Yeah, they were.
All right.
Well, I did break this down into rings a little bit. So
Okay.
Montana and Rice had 2 rings together.
Okay.
And Young and Rice only had 1 ring together. So you'd want to rank them, I'd say Montana and Rice over.
Yeah.
I would
yeah.
too.
Yep. Magic and Kareem had 5 rings together.
Woo! That's tasty.
Of course, Jordan and Pippen had 6 rings together.
Yeah.
So that's going to be hard to not put them number 1, in my opinion, over any of these guys. Kobe, Shaq, what'd they get? Was it 2 or 3?
They got...
I think it's 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. It is 2.
Mm-hmm. Steph and Clay, how many do they have? 3?
3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, Mitch said Parker and Duncan.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. They
yeah.
won.
They got at least 2 together.
That should probably... Yeah. That's
But then you have to throw in Ginobili, and it's more of a trifecta.
Third wheel Ginobili. LeBron and D Wade have 2, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Stockton Malone have a big fat 0. So
Well,
maybe
they
get
run
kicked off
into the
Yeah, but
But
still,
they were so
like,
good
I
together.
feel like they were
Yeah.
the most like symbiotic duo, throughout their career, maybe on there.
They're on their way to, because of their pick and roll, how they ran that. New Orleans is 1 point guard away from redefining the pick and roll for what they can do with Zion.
Yeah.
Because right now, I'm sorry, he can do everything.
Yeah.
He looks great. But I was watching highlights last night, and I was like, they are just 1 great point guard away from that, and he's just going to dominate. I mean, the way he can do that, and they can set it up to him, it's almost like a handoff for a running back, and he's just going to dominate and go straight to the hole, and no one can stop him. All right.
Barrett Scorpio said McGuire and Canseco.
The Bash Brothers, they've got one.
Yeah.
They've got 1 title and 1 appearance. Wait, is that true? No, 3 appearances in the World Series, 1 title. They won in '89. They lost in '88 and lost in '90. They lost in '88 to the Dodgers, lost to the Reds in '90. They won it in '89. They beat the Giants that year. So 3 appearances, 1 title. The Bash Brothers, though.
Yep.
And they got that killer Netflix spin-off.
Tremendous.
Yeah, this is great. All right. Gosh. Ooh, Bird and McHale.
Yeah.
I like
that's
that.
a good one, too.
Yeah.
Bird and McHale, they've got 2. They had 86 and 87, right? Or 85. They had 85, 86. Yeah. Jeez.
We're supposed to be eliminating, and we keep adding.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, we are. I mean, what
I was
about,
going to say, Unitas and
Babe
Mackey were pretty
what Babe and
dominant,
Lou?
too.
Where are we at with Babe and Lou?
Oh, yeah.
Lou Gehrig.
That's right.
And what about Brady and Gronk? How many do they have together?
They had 3 together.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that one.
I feel like
that-
Brady and Gronk should be on the list because
they're really high
that's
because
they
look what
gotta
happened when
be
he
there
retired.
somewhere.
I mean that's really high.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Gronk. All of a sudden, they're out and they don't get a first round bye the year after, and they're out the first game.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. That duo, that is.
I feel like Montana, Rice, Brady, Gronk. What else were we saying? Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, Wade. Those are all like locks in the top 10, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, Pippen, obviously. Magic, Kareem probably should be a lock too.
Yep.
I think Gretzky, Messi, should be in the top 10.
That's fair.
Because of their dominance. I mean, both Hall of Famers, no question.
Steph and Clay, because they.
I guess you could say Kurt Warner and Torrey Holt, but they're probably not top. They're not top 10.
No.
What'd you say?
Steph and Clay, because they kind of changed the game.
They
also.
did. Yeah, no, you're right.
And they got the rings to back it up.
And they've got the Splash Brothers.
2, 4, 6. Yep. I think we got 7.
They've got a name. To be a good duo, you have to have a name.
That's true.
Jeter and A-Rod, does that make the top 10?
I think they only have 1.
Yeah, but if are we just basing it off of titles and stuff? Especially in
You could do
baseball, it's
Jeter
like harder
and
to have
Jeter
that
and
dominance, though.
Scott Brocious. I mean, you can keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like Jeter is just there for those.
Yeah, but that's not.
And did they
it's not
really
the same
even
as
like each other? I don't even think they.
Well,
Manning and Harrison did break all sorts of records.
I'd
together,
argue
but they
Mantle
only won one
Maris
title.
before that.
Right.
Eminem. I mean, there's a name for you too. And they lived together.
I feel like we could probably take Young and Rice out of the top 10.
Yeah, I'm fine
I
with
think
that.
you go Montana
Right.
Rice before
Yeah.
you Rice.
Yeah.
Take Glavine and Maddox off.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably
What
take
about
Freeney
Stockton
and
and
Mathis
Malone?
off.
They're an honorable mention.
Who's Stockton and Malone?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're just like the NBA Finals. They're just on the outside looking in. They're at 11. They're honorable mention.
What about the Babe and Lou? I just don't know enough about. That's a little before my time.
Well, where are we? How many? What are we at numbers wise?
I think we're at 8. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's
You
what I
got? Did you put Mantle and Marison?
Okay. Yep.
Put
I
it
got
in.
8 also.
You got Parker and Duncan?
No, we can put them in.
They should be.
They
in
should
there.
they should be in there.
And LeBron and D Wade.
Yep. You got
We
that.
already had that.
Okay. I'm just
2, 4, 6, 8. I have 10. You guys
All right.
have 10?
give me the 10.
I have Montana Rice, Brady Gronk, Jordan Pippen, LeBron Wade, Kobe Shaq, Steph Clay, Magic Kareem, Gretzky Messier, Mantle Maris, Parker Duncan.
Okay. Jordan Pippen won. 6 rings, right?
Yeah. Yep. They got to be number 1.
Magic Kareem 2.
I like it.
This is where it gets a little wonky here. You get, I mean,
Probably got it.
because you're like, okay, well, 2 guys can win a title, so it's going to be all NBA.
Kobe
but
Shaq.
over Steph and Clay.
Over
I
Brady
just-
Gronk.
Yeah, I do think.
Here's
so.
the thing: can Steph win one without Clay? Can Clay win one without? Can Clay win one without Steph? Kobe and Shaq have each won a title without each other.
Right.
I just
That
feel
makes
like,
it a bigger
But I
power.
think
Them as a
individually
duo-
they're more. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. But
I just feel like they're a more dominant duo
Yeah.
over Steph.
'Cause
and Clay.
individually
I
they're
think
more
Steph and Clay
dominant.
had a more balanced team around them. I think they had more pieces than.
yeah, we're not even
Kobe,
including the
Shaq.
great. With Durant, one of the greatest players in the
Yeah.
world that they had on their team too.
Right.
I mean,
go
outside
Steph
Jordan
and Durant,
Pippen, you didn't
yeah.
have another like greatest player.
So where are we
I don't know,
at?
that's
Yeah.
I mean, we're on 3.
We got
so
10 in there. I mean, that was.
I
like
would put
Kobe
Kobe
and
Shaq
Shaq.
at
All right.
3.
I like
Okay.
We could put Steph and Clay at 4 then.
Okay.
I suppose.
And
I
then
mean, for 5,
Brady and Gronk.
Brady and
Montana
Gronk.
Rice or
It's got to
yeah,
be. They've
Brady
got to be
Gronk,
high up
that's
there.
Fine. Yeah,
It's such a
that-
big drop off without him.
Yeah.
You've got to have the Jerry Maguire. You complete me.
So would Montana Rice be 6 then?
I like it.
I'm fine with that.
7? Would you put?
Brown D Wade.
How many
I
in
still don't
Parker
know if
and Duncan
I
get?
feel like LeBron
2?
D Wade
At
would be
least 2.
towards the end.
Not more.
Yeah,
They
I'd
might
go
have
like
3. I don't.
Parker Duncan before.
Yeah,
All right.
I would go like Parker Duncan, then Gretzky Messier, then LeBron Wade.
I'm fine with that.
So 7 is Parker Duncan,
Mhm.
8's Gretzky Messier, 9 is
Then
LeBron
then the
D Wade,
roommates get to be 10.
and then yeah,
The roommates.
yep. I mean, I'm cool with that list.
Yep.
I think that's a good one.
Basketball heavy list.
We didn't have Babe Lou, but like you
Yeah.
were mentioning, it's that individually they were dominant as well.
I like that list. We did a good job.
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
Yeah. See what we do.
Compromise.
We've got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at the NBA All-Star Game, and then we're going to play Dunk or Not a Dunker. And I'm going to give you a list, and you tell me, did they win an NBA dunk title or did they not? Dunker, not a dunker. We'll be right back. First, want to remind you, Done Right TV and Security Solutions is proud to be your Dish premier local retailer. Use Dish's voice remote to search live TV over 80,000 on-demand titles and Netflix at the same time. Done Right has all the products you need to turn your home into a smart home. Not only do they have state-of-the-art products, they even have their own installation experts for TV mounts, wireless networks, home theaters, security systems, and more. Call 866-84-RIGHT today to get the package that is right for you. Netflix streaming membership required. Voice remote requires internet-connected Hopper. Restrictions apply. Once again, that's Done Right TV and Security Solutions, 866-84-RIGHT.
This
is Bobby Metcalf from the Quad City Times, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
It's Valentine's Day Central at Mary's Diamonds and Jewelry. We have selected 3 amazing Valentine's deals starting at $99. And with each purchase, you receive Lago Marcino chocolates.
Check out all the ways we can make your Valentine's Day full of sparkle and romance without busting your budget.
Come in and see how easy it can be at Mary's Diamonds and Jewelry, home of the Wow Factor, 2115 East 12th Street in the village of East Davenport.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Experience big-time small college sports at Augustana College this week. Head over to the Carver Center Saturday the 15th. It's a men's and women's basketball doubleheader hosting Carthage. The women tip off at 5. The men follow at 7. On Tuesday the 18th, men's volleyball welcomes Carthage for a 7 o'clock match. Then it's basketball senior night on the 22nd as North Park visits the Carver Center for a final twin bill. For more event information, visit augustana.edu. Augustana College, a family-friendly front row seat to big-time small college sports.
Escúchame, y Dan Levatación, ESPN Radio.
How much time did Lucio spend brushing your eyebrows?
It's just a quick little and another on the other side.
I feel like maybe save the eyebrow brushing time and focus a little more on the hair brushing time.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's another issue.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Like, what am I going to do with this and then just put, like, headphones on top of it and mess it up? Lucio, I don't want to ruin his art.
You're in the awkward stage right now of, like, the haircuts where before, obviously, you'd kind of, like, buzz it. Now it's grown to a point where it's not long enough to actually do anything with, but it's too long to just sit still.
It's one of those deals where I'm, like, thinking to myself, man, what am I going to do with my hair? Whatever, I live on television. You're just going to have to be vulnerable, deal with the awkwardness, and then, 2 years from now, brave.
How'd you guys feel about I live on television?
I have been ever since his Levitard load management nonsense.
Yes, I didn't ask for any of this.
The Dan Levitard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
The Circle Tap is your place for daily specials all week long. Start the week off with $3 whiskeys on Monday. Tuesday's Ladies Night with $3 You Call It and over $300 in weekly prizes. Kick back with dollar drafts on Wednesday, $6 mini import pitchers on Thursday, $6 domestic pitchers on Saturdays, and $2 cans on Sunday. Mark your calendars for St. Patrick's Day and Circle Tap's 4-day Irish Blowout. Enjoy great food, great drinks, and great friends all week long at the Circle Tap, West Locust Street, Davenport.
Go looking Wingo.
And good for the Raiders, right?
Good
After all the
Raiders.
crap they've been through.
But I love the times that the Raiders win because then Jason brings in donuts. I mean, that's the best thing about this whole thing.
See, I love that on obviously the cellular level where my body craves it, and I hate it for the part of me that's in football season trying not to gain my customary 15 pounds. So it's a real double-edged sword.
Yeah,
here.
whatever.
I'll be honest, gentlemen. It was the first time I've ever watched a Raiders game where I didn't eat a dozen donuts. There were no donuts happening. I ate healthy.
You're telling me that was the first time in your life you did not eat a dozen donuts watching a Raiders game?
That I can remember, yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, I'm
What do you have, a dozen donuts, and what did you drink?
3 2-liters.
Three 2-liter bottles of diet soda, a dozen donuts, and a pizza.
What?
None of that last night. Ate healthy. If you'd like, guys, I can start bringing in carrot sticks for you.
No, pass on that
That'll
one.
get your fingers
Hummus?
broken.
Little hummus?
No.
Stop that.
Golick and Wingo, mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Imagine a virtual club that's free to join, where the fun never stops and where there's always something new and exciting happening. It's the Prize Zone, a special part of the Iowa Lottery VIP Club that'll make your VIP experience even VIP-ier. Members can enter Prize Zone drawings for cash, technology, lottery tickets, concert tickets, and sports ticket prizes all day, every day, all year long. Get rules and complete details at ialottery.com. Join today and see what's waiting for you in the VIP Club Prize Zone.
You can get your sports fix by telling Alexa to play ESPN 1170. Enable the skill and never miss a moment from the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Thank you for tuning in to ESPN 1170 AM. You can also listen to us on your smartphone. Download the ESPN 1170 app and ESPN1170am.com. Click the upper right-hand corner, listen now, and you can listen and leave comments on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread. How could I forget that we have to pick the XFL spread against the spread? We've got 4 more games this week. So, from what we know, from Adam, who was 3-1 last week, we've got to figure it out. The first game on Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff. The DC Defenders. The undefeated DC Defenders.
Yeah, they have not lost an XFL game.
They have
That's
not.
for sure.
Cardell Jones has not lost a game he has started
Yeah.
since high school. All right. So, the New York Guardians, who are undefeated as well, come into DC. DC is -6.5. They are the home favorites. I'm telling you guys, I'm taking the home favorite here. I'm taking the -6. I'm
same.
giving up the points. I think DC really what DC did was the 3 turnovers that Tampa Bay did. Tampa Bay I thought was really bad with the ball. That's where they got the New York Guardians, that's where they got their win.
DC showed a lot in that first game for sure. They might already be like the front runner. Have they even come out and said like who will win the championship?
They were in the first power rankings for CBS. I didn't look at theirs because I made my own power rankings and I didn't need to look at theirs anymore. All right, Vasco gives up the points.
Yep.
Adam.
As do I. I think DC's my dog in this race
Right.
for the XFL. I like him.
Erickson.
Did you say I have them at 5? Did you say 6? Are they at 6 now?
According to our friends at EliteSportsbook.com, it is DC -6.5.
All right. I had DC picked originally. Now I'm gonna go. Give me that extra point. I'll go New York.
All right.
Matt McGloin. Let's go.
Yep, Matt McGloin. That's right. The other game on Saturday, it will be a 4:00 kickoff. Seattle Dragons. It's their home opener. First ever home opener. They're going to play host to the Tampa Bay Vipers, who are on the road for the second week in a row. We warned you about this earlier in the week, that XFL East Coast to West Coast travel. Vipers are favored for the second week in a row on the road. They're favored by 2. And if anyone listened to anything I said, you'll know I do not like the Vipers. I'm taking Seattle Dragons. But
And
you
the
did tell me
quarterback,
did tell me that Tampa Bay, they're changing their quarterback. It will no longer be Aaron Murray. It's going to be Quentin Flowers.
Right.
And our man, the voice of the Storm, Rothy, he likes Quentin Flowers because he played for South Florida. The way they're going to win is if he uses his legs, Quentin Flowers.
Yeah.
Because those receivers don't catch a ball. They couldn't catch a cold. So that's where it's going to have to happen. All right. So are you taking the road favorite or are you taking the home dogs, guys?
I'm gonna take the home dogs.
Same here.
Can I get a hell yeah?
All right. I think that's
Is this the first XFL? Hell yeah.
I think so.
Coming from Tampa Bay though, they might catch a cold.
Yep.
I said, give me a hell yeah.
Okay, on Sunday, we've got the Dallas Renegades traveling to L.A., the Wildcats. This will be L.A.'s first game at home. Dallas did not look too good in their opener. They had got 3 field goals, and that's it. They lost to St. Louis Battlehawks. The Renegades are favored -3.5 on the road, but the face of the XFL, Landry Jones, will be starting for them. He did not play for them. The Instagram model played for them instead. So, Dallas -3.5 against the LA Wildcats. Wildcats, by the way, fired their defensive coordinator after week 1, Pepper Johnson. I am going to actually take the road favorites. I'm going to take the Renegades.
Yep, Dallas.
Yeah.
Landry Jones is gonna light it up.
Yeah, same here. I think he's chomping for a bit to get out there and prove himself.
Yeah, Wildcats, worst defense in the XFL. Dallas wins big here. Can I get a hell yeah?
All right, then for the second week in a row, my St. Louis Battlehawks, and on the road for the second week in a row, are the premier game of the week. That's because they're the last one. At 5 o'clock, they will travel to Houston to take on the Roughnecks. Both teams undefeated. St. Louis Battlehawks are road dogs plus 7.5. Houston's favorite 7.5. This is a tough one. What do you do here? Do I bet with my heart? Houston Roughnecks might have the best quarterback in the league. Not by my power rankings, by the way. I believe the Battlehawks have the best quarterback in the league. And the throwing Samoan. I'm taking the plus 7.5.
I'll go Houston.
I'll take the points.
Erickson?
Caw, baby.
That's right.
They're not your St. Louis Battlehawks. They're my St. Louis Battlehawks.
Oh, yeah, you're on board, huh?
I'm on board.
Erickson's Twitter buddies with the backup quarterback. So are you guys messing each other, just liking each other's tweets?
Just, yeah.
It's just you guys are
he
feeling
just
it out.
responded to one of mine.
Oh, he responded?
Erickson's going to need that beer bong back for this weekend's game.
We should watch this together, Erickson.
We should.
Yeah, beer bong Bud Light seltzers. We should have our own seltzer party.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you didn't see this?
And then we'll share it on.
Like their Bud Light, it was like their Bud Lights. It was sponsored by Bud Light Seltzer, but for St. Louis, like the Bud Light Seltzer post game locker room, and they were like just slamming seltzers, like Stone Cold.
It's a lot of
like,
carbonation, man.
Like someone, I think actually I saw someone bite into a can.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah,
just shock.
They were that excited.
Keeping
about
it classy, exit.
The Bud Light Seltzer, it was great.
So I went on there and trolled him. I said only people from St. Louis would be shotgunning seltzers.
Right, yeah.
And he replied back, "You shotgun whatever they give you, baby. Caw, caw."
And I think that was organic. I don't think that ever. Their hashtag was what was it? Something armed and ready or something like that. But now I think now they just went started slamming seltzers and started screaming caw.
So after that, I told him, I replied back. I said, "Okay, fine. I was going to be on the Wildcats. Now I'm a fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Go Battlehawks."
The St. Louis, that should just be a St. Louis thing from now on. Like if the St. Louis Blues win the division, just shower each other with seltzer in the locker room. You know, Cardinals just firing off seltzer.
I love it. All right, the NBA All-Star Game this weekend, and obviously we talked about the different format that they're going to have. You know, you can pay attention to how they're doing it. With we've talked about it, but after the first quarter, they reset the score at 0. Whoever wins the first quarter, the captain team gets $100,000 to their charity. Same thing in the second, they reset it, and same thing in the third, $100,000 until they add the 3 quarters up, and whoever's got the leading score. So if you add up 3 quarters for the leading team and it comes to 170 and the other team has 160, they will put 24 points onto that. That'll be the final score. So the goal score will be 194. And that's the 24 comes from Kobe. It's guaranteeing a final shot, a game-winning shot, whatnot. And it's going to be. We talked about it. I'll watch it when I can because we'll be watching the Battlehawks, but we'll have it on 2 TVs because we're going to meet up and go somewhere, and I'll watch it. And I don't know the last time I remember watching an All-Star game or looked forward to watching one. And honestly, it's probably Magic coming back from HIV, and that's a long time ago. And so I think this one it'll be up, but. We complain every year about the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest, and it basically. What are your thoughts? What are your memories of the slam dunk contest? Anyone?
Obviously, the Jordan from the free throw line is number one.
Yeah.
Memory for me.
Dwight Howard, the Superman.
You
know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a key moment.
So. Yeah, that was in '88 when Jordan did that, and basically, that was a little home cooking there. Speaking of Gale Sayers, he was a celebrity judge for that too during that. Dominique during that time, Dominique had a really good dunk during that. Some people thought he should have won, but that's the one you think of. I think of
NBA Jam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's on fire.
Well, I don't want to bring up any more names because we got to play a game. And you guys can play it on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread. And it's going to be called Dunker, Not a Dunker. I'm going to give you names. And you tell me, did this NBA All-Star win a dunk contest? Or did he not win a dunk contest, okay?
All right.
So, they are all NBA players. They have all participated in a dunk contest. Are you with me?
Okay.
So you just mentioned Michael Jordan. So
no
if I said
curveballs.
so if I said Michael Jordan, you would say dunker.
Yeah, right.
All right. Yeah. If I said something like I got to figure out who's brand new right now that probably didn't. Just if you know what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
If you don't think he won a dunk contest, say not a dunker. All right.
Zion.
Huh?
Zion.
Yeah.
Zion, there you go. Because he hasn't done it yet. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Are you ready to play? Dunker, not a dunker? Yes?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm excited.
All right. Turn this down a little bit in the background here. All right. Larry Nance. Larry Nance.
Not a dunker.
Wait, what do we got here? What'd you say?
Erickson
This
said
decade.
dunker.
Yes, dunker. I've heard of him.
I said not a dunker.
Not a dunker.
Larry Nance is not from this decade. He won the very first dunk contest in 1984.
Oh, it's a dunker.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so he is. I know I've heard of him.
Okay. Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler.
Clyde the Glide, gotta be a dunker.
Yeah, I'm dunker. Yep.
Didn't he face up against Jordan? Didn't he lose?
I think he won
He might have
multiple
lost to
times, though.
Dominique, but I think he's got to have one in
Yeah,
there.
I thought he'd have one. I don't know.
I'm gonna go not a dunker because I feel like this is a meatball here that you're throwing up.
He is a 5-time participant and not a dunker.
Oh.
Clyde the Glide. Steve Francis.
Not a dunker.
Not a dunker.
Not a dunker.
Steve Francis participated in the dunk contest in 2000 and 2002. Not a dunker. Never won a title.
3-0.
Glenn Robinson III.
Ooh.
That's right.
He was a good dunker.
Glenn Robinson III.
I'm gonna say dunker.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a sneaky in. I'll say dunker.
Not a dunker.
He is your 2017 NBA Slam Dunk champion.
Wrong.
Glenn Robinson III.
Wrong.
Kobe Bryant.
Dunker.
R.I.P.
I feel like I saw highlights recently of him winning it, so dunker.
I don't think you won one. Let's say not a dunker.
1997 NBA Slam Dunk champion Kobe Bryant is a dunker. Harrison Barnes. There's a name for you. Out of Ames, Iowa.
Yeah.
Recently said he's not going to cut or shave his beard till the Sacramento Kings get to 500. Harrison Barnes.
Not a dunker.
Not a dunker.
This one feels tricky too, man. Not a dunker.
Participant in 2014, did not win a title. Harrison Barnes, not a dunker. Amari Stoudemire.
Dunker.
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 Not a dunker.
He didn't win?
No. Participated in 2003 and 2005. Did not win.
Dang.
I probably had an injured knee.
Call for a revote.
Sean Kemp.
Dunker. He could throw it down. And there's no way he didn't win
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of the best dunkers of all time.
Be heated competition then, but yeah, I'm saying he's got to have one.
4-time participant Sean Kemp is not a dunker.
Oh my gosh.
Who are these
This
judges?
is hard, man. This is hard.
Nate Robinson.
Did
Little Nate Robinson?
Nate Robinson.
Like 5 foot nothing?
Yeah. I
but
feel like he did win one.
I think so too.
5 years ago.
No, not a dunker. I don't think he can dunk.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yeah, because I think I remember him competing in one, and I feel like if he did, he won it.
Yeah, I'll go dunker.
2-time NBA All-Star Slam Dunk champion Nate Robinson.
He won it twice?
2009 and 2010 back-to-back. Is in fact
He won
a
it twice. How about that?
Yeah.
Attaboy. Like he won it and Amari didn't win one.
Oh.
Or Kemp.
So we're just saying he won 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I stats
Kemp could
wrong?
jump over him and dunk on him.
Easily.
I
think he probably got it because of his size, you know?
Right. Just like little Spud.
Yeah.
Spud got one too, didn't he?
1986,
Yeah.
Spud Webb. Dunker. Participated plenty of times, yes. All right. Let's do a bonus.
Ooh.
Shooter, not a shooter. 3-point contest.
Oh, boy.
I thought about
That's
that name.
him.
Maybe I shouldn't do that, but yeah, shooter, not a shooter. You ready?
Yeah.
Craig Hodges.
Shooter.
Not a shooter.
Not a shooter.
Craig Hodges has 3 first place 3-point contest wins and 2 second place. He is a shooter.
What team was he on again?
All right.
Cleveland.
Craig
Cleveland?
Hodges. What?
I'm guessing Cleveland.
He was on the Bulls.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's
he
right.
won it 90, 91, and 92. 3 years in a row.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Harris.
Shooter.
This is so funny. This is how much we don't pay attention to the NBA All-Star stuff.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's wrong? Not a shooter.
No, he just sort of threw his hands up and goes shooter. Yeah, it's like shooter.
Not a shooter.
Not a shooter.
He is your defending 3-point NBA 3-point champion.
Yeah. I don't think I've watched a
I don't even know who
3-point
he
contest.
is.
Danny Ainge.
Shooter.
Danny. I feel like he's a participant like a ton and probably never won one, so I'm going to go not a shooter.
I'm going to go not a shooter because the odds of you going 3 shooters in a row seem slim to me.
What? Is this your theory now? It's not even like this.
So I'm going off of probabilities here.
We've got a multiple choice test.
Always account for variable change.
It can't land on black 20 times in a row.
It can't be D 3 times in a row.
Oh, wait.
Not this many falses.
It's not even okay. Danny Ainge.
Shooter.
Not a shooter.
Nailed it. I was so right about this.
Steve Kerr.
Shooter.
Yeah, shooter. Yeah.
Shooter.
Are you sure?
No.
Yep.
No. He won in 1997.
Okay, good.
Allen Iverson.
Not a shooter.
Not a shooter. He wasn't known for his...
So I think he won it one year. I'm going to go with shooter.
Not a shooter. Although he did participate one year. Gilbert Arenas.
Not a shooter.
Not a shoot, yeah.
Not a shooter. Tim Legler.
Shooter. You're not going to go not a shooter 3 times in a row.
Gosh darn it.
We cracked the formula.
1996 champion Tim Legler.
Ray Allen? Is he on there?
He's not on my list because he did win it.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he also did participate in a dunk contest once. He was
Steph
on the,
Curry.
he was on the dunk or not dunker. All right, well, we're gonna have to take a break. And Vasco, thank you so much for
been
week
awesome.
in and week out coming in and hosting. And other times we, wish you nothing but the best. We'll stay in touch with you, and we'll have you call in and all that stuff and get to talk about Clemson and anything else going on. But thank you so much for your time. We appreciate
most
it. It's been
definitely,
great
man.
getting to know you. And yeah, you're one of the best that there is, and they're very lucky to have you. And the Quad Cities are going to miss you.
I appreciate that,
yeah.
man. Thank you, Quad Cities, and thank you guys especially.
Adam, real quick, give a promo to Front Street. What do you got going on?
Well, at the pub and eatery tonight, you can bring your special someone down. We've got a really nice prime rib dinner for 2 going on. 2 pieces of 8-ounce prime rib, mashed potatoes, grilled asparagus, a mint chocolate chip trifle for 2, and 2 non-alcoholic beverages, all for $50. So come on down, check that out, and have some cherry vanilla bombers.
That's right.
There you go.
Thank you very much for bringing it in.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Nick Trezino and Brody Groth, as former Quad City Preps and University of Iowa wrestlers. Talk to them a little bit about their time at the Iowa State Wrestling Tournament. District starts this week, and their time at the University of Iowa as well, being wrestlers. So first, let me remind you, for nearly 12 years, Pints has been providing the Quad Cities with some of the best beer, drinks, and good times around. Join them Monday through Friday for happy hour 3 to 6 and enjoy complimentary Vans Pizza at 5 o'clock. Stop in any day of the week for one of our daily specials. That's 5268 Utica Road and Pints. Don't forget to check them out on Facebook and Twitter to find more about their specials, and follow them there as well. All right, we'll be back in just a few.
This is WQAD's Matt Randazzo, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local on ESPN 93.5.
You don't want to miss the Outdoor Show, February 13th through the 16th at the QCCA Expo Center in Rock Island.
Troy Lindner, son of legendary angler Al Lindner and team member of Lindner's Angling Edge, will entertain you with his fishing and life stories during daily seminars, along with fellow anglers Tommy Scarless and Jim Crowley. Get fishing tips from some of the best. Huge vendor displays featuring fishing, boating, bait, and tackle. It's all waiting for you at the outdoor show. Bring your kids for their own adventure at Kids Camp, Trout Pond, minnow races, and archery. Advanced discount tickets are available in person at K&K Hardware, Kroger's, the Expo Center office, or at QCCAExpoCenter.com. At the door, adults $8, kids 6 to 16 just $1, and under 6 free. Senior citizens and military get in for $6 all day Friday. There's free parking and shuttle from the Rock Island ramp to the outdoor show, February 13th through the 16th. For schedule of events, more information, or to get tickets, log on to QCCAExpoCenter.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your Precision Air Team starting lineup. First, let's welcome the masters of comfort and efficiency, your residential and commercial heating and AC service team. Next up, put your hands together for the All-Star Furnace and AC installation team, the trained dealer comfort specialist. And finally, your Quad Cities geothermal specialist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Precision Air starting lineup. Financing available online at PrecisionAirQC.com. Precision Air. We'll be right there.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
A tweeter writes in, well, that's nice. Le Batard just wrapped a segment praising the blatant cheating of Calipari at UMass in Memphis. It was magical, he said. Also, lots of love for Memphis now, defending their current rule breaking and embracing it. Great work, guys. Set the bar high for everyone.
Is that guy?
All right, listen here, Tucker Martin. The sport's being investigated with FBI wiretaps. There's testimony that the starter at Creighton cost you $100,000. Memphis got this Weissman kid cheap. They got him at 1/10 of the price. Penny got him discounted. Like, what do you think you're watching? Quit trying to make it pure. It's not pure. Pure things are not FBI wiretap.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Golick and Wingo.
Heavy thoughts from Kevin Durant. The quote that obviously making all the headlines. It was a Wall Street Journal article. Some days I hate the NBA.
Nobody cares. I put it this way really quick. When you're walking down the hallway of your work today and you walk by an acquaintance and you say, hey, how you doing? And they actually stop and start telling you how you're doing. You know what you're doing? You're going, just being nice. I want to keep walking. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your problems, right?
Golick and Wingo. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Online sports betting is here with EliteSportsbook.com. If you are an active Rhythm City Casino Resort Club member, go to EliteSportsbook.com now and follow the prompts to start betting. Not a Resort Club member? Visit Rhythm City to join today. Bet with Elite Sportsbook at Rhythm City Casino Resort or online now. More ways to get in the game with EliteSportsbook.com and Rhythm City Casino Resort. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KBOB, Davenport.
We are back in the Hassle Castle, brought to you by Dunright TV and Security. You're listening to ESPN 1170 AM. I want to thank Erickson for coming in for a little bit and thank Adam from Front Street Brewery. Make sure to go down to Front Street. They're always tapping something, and you listened to them before we went to break. They've got a nice deal going on to take your special lady friend out tonight, prime rib dinner. So check that out. Go to Front Street. Go to the social media pages. Follow them. Like them. Everything. Yeah, that chair is going to be a problem. It goes up and down all the time. And again, thanks to Vasco and safe travels to him out there. And best of luck at everything he's doing out in South Carolina. In studio, I'm joined by Nick Trezino and Brody Grothis, former Quad City Preps, former state champions in wrestling, former University of Iowa wrestlers. And now they're back in the Quad Cities doing great things for future athletes, but they're also doing, working in this area. They came back and everything. Gentlemen, say hi.
How's it going? Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much for calling the MAC finals a couple weeks ago. Everyone said great things about you guys. They were very insightful. You guys did great. So you guys are naturals, I guess. Right?
Yeah, guess so, huh?
Yeah.
They asked us when the next time we were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Making a career out of it. We might give up our coaching.
That's what we got to see.
shirts for those.
Look what we're doing. Now we can just go around. We got to give Iowa Wrestle a run for their money, I
There
guess.
you go.
Huh?
We can do that.
Yeah. All right. So guys, let's just start kind of from the beginning. Let's have everyone get to know you guys. Nick, you graduated from Bettendorf in 2008.
2008. Yep.
2008. State champion 2007. Yep. And Brody graduated from Assumption 2011.
Nailed it.
Yeah, state champion in 2011, two-time runner-up before that, right?
I got third twice.
Third twice, okay. Yep. All right, well, from the very beginning, Nick, you've got a strong pedigree.
Yep.
How was wrestling? Did you have a choice?
You know what? I think, contrary to people's beliefs, I think there's a difference in the way they see you end up and the way they assume everything went. You know, we both Brody and I coach at our club of Gogi right now, and I tell the parents all the time, it's a process. It's not a sprint. You're not gonna have, just because your kid's good now doesn't mean they're gonna be good in the long run, or just because they're bad now or struggling, or if you want to say bad, I guess you can, whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't mean that that's their outlook. And I think Brody and I have talked about this plenty of times, not to steal his thunder, but we had a lot of our beginning of our careers looked a lot different. I think I started early, and I think wrestling's one of those sports where it's difficult for kids to get into it on their own. You almost have to be signed up for it, because not many kids come home from school wanting to wrestle. They all come home wanting to play football, wanting to play basketball, because that's what all their friends are doing. Mm-hmm. So I think, I've got two young kids now, and everyone asks, are they going to wrestle? I'm like, well, I'll probably introduce them to it, but whether it takes off from there is up to them. But for me personally, my dad introduced it to me. I remember being probably kindergarten-ish, and I never liked to practice. Mm-hmm. I didn't like to go to the practice with all the other kids. So I'd sit there and watch, and then afterwards, okay, now I wanted to wrestle. And him and I would roll around a lot, and that was kind of just my entry level, me getting into it. And I think if he would have pushed me through it, it probably would have turned me off a little bit. But started off, wrestled maybe one tournament in kindergarten, maybe one in first grade. My parents always joke that some of these kids now are in first grade, have over 100 matches. It probably took me to my 7th grade year till I had over 100 matches. Mm-hmm. And I might not even had 100 by then too. So, nothing special, nothing crazy. When I was younger, I progressively got better and kind of just chipped away at it.
You mentioned the kids, and people say they're going to wrestle, and it's their choice. But really, I always joke around that every tickle fight you have with your kid is basically hand control, because they're trying to push your hands away.
Well, the other thing is it might not be a choice for him, because my wife just took my oldest to the doctor, and he's at like the 20th percentile for height or something. So he might be a wrestler by not by choice. He's going to be a little shorter. Yeah.
All right. So I had the same thing with my son, and then. But he was in the 75th or 80th percentile, and then my wife looked at me and said, "Don't say it." And our doctor said, "Like what?" And she goes, "He's gonna make some smart aleck comment." And I was like, "Yeah, who's the dad? This is impossible." And then I said, and then she goes, "Oh," and I go, "Wait a minute. I can't have a legger in the family. You can't be tall and lanky." So yeah, so we all go through it or whatever else. Brody, how did you get involved in wrestling?
Yeah, my upbringing was probably a little bit different. I grew up with 2 older brothers and 1 little brother. So naturally, in the house, we're going to be scrapping all the time in the living room, things like that. But to be honest with you, I did have a lot of success when I was little. That was probably my prime. I like to tell people like kindergarten through 2nd grade. That was when I was the best. But no, I mean, honestly, as time started to progress and as I started to get a little bit older, I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to be a baseball player, and I loved playing baseball. I was fortunate enough to be on 2 really good Little League teams that went to the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania. So, obviously as a kid, you get exposed to be on ESPN when you're 11 and 12 years old. You get to go to Yankee Stadium, and meet Jeter and A-Rod and that whole crew. You're going to start to gravitate towards that way. And in high school, when I ended up 5'10 and 145 pounds soaking wet, my options were a little bit limited in that route, JUCO and things like that. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that route. A lot of the best guys in the state, with Iowa being summer ball, end up taking that JUCO route and having success that way. But for me, the writing was kind of on the wall. I think I always, in the back of my mind, probably knew that I was a wrestler. I was going to be a wrestler, but I didn't do it year round. I played football in high school all the way through. I played baseball all the way through. So I was doing other sports, and really I just laced up my wrestling shoes, October or November through February. Once the state tournament was done, I was on to the next sport. So totally different, but definitely, again, if you're not exposed to it, like Nick was saying, wrestling's a tough sport. Unless the parents can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're not having success, especially, wrestling sucks. It's super, super difficult, mentally in that regard. And that's why it's super important to have good teammates, to have good coaches, to have parents all on the same page, thinking big term, thinking long term. I remember when I lost 7th grade year, would have been the first year I didn't make the state finals, I think. I lost to Kyvan Gadsden, who obviously had a lot of success. And my dad's rule was, hey, if you got to cry, go cry where somebody can't see you, right? So, Coach Bush found me. I was crying in some dark tunnel somewhere. And, he said, hey, nobody remembers this stuff. Nobody remembers how many AAU state titles you win. They remember high school. They remember college. This is all just preparation for that. So, we kind of take that, into consideration a little bit. But when we work as hard as we do, when we push these kids as hard as they go and they work as hard as they do, success is important. It is. And success is defined a lot more than just wins and losses, obviously. But nobody likes to lose. So.
Well, that's the mentality. But, I mean, you do have to, there are going to be some losses along the way that you have to learn from and everything. So the Little League World Series, was that 2004?
04, 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when we have Vanderbilt on, he says plenty of times about how many times people ask him about that more than any of his other career or anything like that.
Well,
so
his little league team was a lot better than ours, I think. Because I think they made the U.S. Finals.
Okay.
That was with Willie Argo.
Yeah.
Tommy Argo, he's one of my best friends, and Willie's his brother. So they kind of set the platform, and we followed suit. And nobody's been in this area since 05. So I think there was a false, misconception there how easy it is to get there. And now I think it means a lot more to people probably in this area because they know it's not easy.
So did you play high school baseball for Assumption?
Yep.
Okay. And then was there any thought at all of going on and playing in college baseball?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a few offers. Like I said, it was just smaller stuff. So stack that up compared to some Division I offers in wrestling. And as a kid, as a 16-year-old kid, you're probably going to side with the bigger one.
So you go through, in high school at Assumption, you guys go through sectionals. And Nick, you guys go through districts. Yep. So top 2 sectionals, move on to the next one. We do, there has been some talk recently on social media about getting rid of sectionals because of participation numbers going down. And I think we'll sidetrack that. We'll get to it later because we need to get the numbers up and we don't want to talk about that. But there are plenty of kids in this area right now that are getting ready for districts and to get to state. What kind of, take you through the thought process that you guys are going through at this moment when you guys were younger? Like, obviously you had success. You're coming off MAC championships and everything else, but you still, there's always in your mind, who's this guy? Is there an upset here and there? For the kids that are going to be participating tomorrow, what advice do you give them from your own experience?
I mean, to me, it's kind of one of those things we tell our kids, keep doing what got you there. If it got you to this point and you're having success, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep a good thing going. I think as far as like familiarity, a lot of these kids are pretty familiar with, I mean, because the districts and regionals and sectionals, I'm not familiar with all that, but they seem to be pretty regional, so you're wrestling those kids, you're seeing those kids. I also think with social media and everything nowadays, there's a lot more broad reach where you're seeing a lot of kids. I remember back when I was in high school and all of a sudden you see the Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson kid, you've never heard of him before, and all of a sudden he comes in at 44-2, and you're like, who is this kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but I think nowadays with social media, everyone's, you got kids know everyone from everywhere, and they're some type of communication or some type of interaction with that. So it seems like there's not as many secrets or not as many kids that they don't know about.
Mhm.
There may be some unfamiliarity as far as I've never wrestled him before, but they know who he is. And with I wrestle, with track wrestling, everything. I mean, you can find a match of some kid if you want them. So
yeah,
it's back. But like I say, back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, I don't think, but maybe it was. But there'd be times it's like there's no film on the kid. You just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's shoot a shot in the dark and just do what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just as cliche as it sounds, you got to treat every match like it's your last, because if you do go out there and, I was a top guy, right? And I had to be aware of, if I'm turning a guy, that I'm not making sure that there's no chance I'm about to pin myself. You got to stay solid. Like Nick said, just do what got you there. Stick to it. Just come out guns a-blazing and treat every match like it's your last.
All right, so what was the state tournament like? All right, now I've been there as a coach or whatever else, and only short time at Wells. You guys both, you were at the barn?
I wrestled in the barn my freshman year.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, it was in Wells.
Okay, so
Yeah.
sophomore year at Wells. Take me through like state tournament wise, because you're wrestling one match a day as long as you keep winning. That's got to be a lot of like just messing with your head.
Well, actually, they changed it. So my freshman year, it started Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you made the finals, I didn't make the finals that year, but if you made the finals, one match a day. When both of us wrestled, it started Thursday
because of duels.
Yes,
Okay.
but duels were still the next weekend when I wrestled, but they changed it to condense it a little bit, and you would do Thursday first round, quarters, semis Friday morning, Friday night, and then finals Saturday night.
And that's the way it is now.
Correct. Yeah.
It's still
But they have the duels on Wednesday before.
Yeah.
Which is kind of different than what we were used to.
So I mean,
or at least I was.
Yeah, you're going through that, and then but you just have a lot of downtime. What did you guys do in between?
For me personally, it was different each year, because I think, contrary to some belief, I don't know, my first 2 years were a little different than my junior year. And unfortunately, my senior year, I didn't wrestle because I got hurt. So I was out my senior year. And that was the story in and of itself, when you're kind of, there's a spectator your senior year after being a returning state champ. It's kind of a different experience. But I think my junior year, especially for me, whether, right or wrong, it is what it is. I was a lot more focused on what I need to do, get ready, stuff like that. So, you're doing your weight cuts. You got to make weight each day. You got a lot of downtime. So you kind of, how you manage that. Some kids are different. Some kids like to take naps. I always went to the mall, walked around, got my legs moving. Just kind of, it's a lot of time to kill just to sit in your hotel room and watch TV and movies or.
Well, do you
TV
have
shows.
like outside, like, because you have your father, and then you have like coaches, and anyone's like, hey, let's watch film on this. You're like, I got it. Like, can we just like relax for a little bit? There can always be a situation like overkill, or did they just let you be and let you come to them whenever you want?
It's a little bit of both. I think as a coach, especially me on the other end of the spectrum now, it's kind of like you got to read the kid. There's some kids that, if I say let's watch film on this kid you got, they're gonna take that as I'm nervous, and you know what I mean. And you don't want to get them fired up.
Yeah.
Where some kids, it helps them at ease, because if they're that kind of mental maturity where they can handle watching film, having a game plan, strategy / what to be aware of, because you need the kid to be aware of what the other kid is gonna do without hindering what he does really well. Because you can't be so laser focused on your opponent. You still got to do what you do. So I think it's kind of a balance where, to me, I'd watch film if they wanted to. If not, it is what it is. I was probably gonna try to do the same stuff I was gonna do anyway.
That's so wild. Ours was completely different.
Okay.
We have two totally different coaches, obviously, in the way they approach things. Both, obviously super successful in their own regard. So, for me, we stayed at the Holodome. I don't know if you've ever been up there in West Des Moines, but it's kind of like a party. It's one big party. We have the entire level with a balcony, all the rooms, you can walk in and out of all of them. So for me, I was more worried about what girls were around. I was eating chicken fingers and cheese fries and slushies and not cutting weight, you know. So to hear, you know, his side is more, you know, in line with kind of what it was like at Iowa, you know, where it's not a job, you know, but it's something where you're all in, you know, and you're committed, and there's a right way to do it. Versus at the high school way, you know, everybody always talks about, you know, what's the right way. Well, you got to do what works for you, you know. And for me at the time, you know, I wanted to be easy going. You know, people always tell me all the time that you'd find me eating like Skittles, you know, as I'm like walking around behind the bench before I go out and wrestle. So it's just a totally different perspective, and it's kind of wild to hear it, but that's what worked for me, you know, is to keep it loose. It wasn't 24/7 wrestling. It was, hey, have fun. You're here. You earned it. But once you get to that arena, now it's time to take care of business.
Yeah.
You know, because ultimately we all work stinking hard in this sport, and you ultimately kind of get what you earn. So that's just a funny way of. I remember because my wife now, it was Sarah Sheets. She was a mat girl for Bettendorf, okay, which is our rival school. And I'm like, hey, why don't you come over to our hotel? You know, we just got these 2 new bulldogs that my parents brought up, and she's like, we can't leave. You know, like even the mat girls were honed in there for them. So just a totally different world.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you get back, you check your weight. If you need a workout, you get a workout in, get a little food, and you know, if you want, it's not like we didn't have fun or anything, but it was definitely a little different where I wasn't concerned. We weren't concerned with like, what are the parents doing? What are they doing? You know what I mean? Like we'd go to the mall, walk around, and you know, have fun. And that was just kind of because you can't, with that much downtime, you can't just solely focus on one thing. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy. You know what I mean? It'll take forever. So it was good. Go to the mall, hang out, you know, that kind of stuff. But
what was the Grand March like? You're in the finals.
I didn't want to do it. It's one of those things where it's just
because you guys have been there as participants, all right? But now you guys are in the finals. You're doing the Grand March.
To be honest, I don't remember it.
It's different being in wrestling shoes than being in tennis shoes, right?
Yeah, I agree with Brody. I agree with Brody. It was one of those necessary evils. But I was also a 112-pounder that year. So it was, as soon as that was over, they were I was the second matchup. So it was one of those things where it's like, I mean, I think I was focused on my match. I honestly don't really remember what the Grand March was like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a placer, you know, you're out there, you're like, man, I just want to
more.
beat these other guys who have their wrestling shoes on. And then if you got your wrestling shoes on, you're like, man, I just want to focus on my match. I don't want to go through this stuff that, you know. But it is cool. It's cool. I mean, as a high school kid, you know, being in that atmosphere, in that arena, and all these people looking down at you, it's a lot more fun, though, when you're in the finals and you got all those eyes on you that way versus, you know, with hundreds.
Excuse me if I'm wrong. I think, were you the lower ranked out of the two in your state championship, Nick?
Yeah. So I wrestled Jake Balg in the finals, and
Waverly Shell Rock.
Yep. So I wrestled him the first tournament at Keith Young in the finals that year, and I was winning, got taken down to my back, and lost it.
Okay.
So
and
so he was the number 1 seed. They didn't seed it, but he was ranked number 1.
Yeah, he was ranked number 1, and you were 1 throughout your season. You went undefeated, right? You weren't?
I did, yeah, but I was ranked 3rd. So I had 2 other state champs, Tanner Hyatt and Aaron Sorensen, who won it the year before. And those guys were undefeated too. So I was 3 essentially.
Who did you beat in the finals?
Hyatt.
Okay.
From Ballard Huxley.
Okay.
He went to Iowa State. Or no, he went to UNI. Sorensen went to Iowa State. But I think both of them just had a few injuries and caught the injury bug, and that was the name of their career.
About that point, even though I watched state finals, I had kids, but I remember your smile when you won yours, like that. I think I remember your smile when you bend over and put the medal on you, and you could just see like the exhale, like everything come out. I remember your smile after that. Yeah,
I mean,
it was a cool moment.
It's more of like validation, you know. Everything you've done was for a purpose, and it's like, you're right, it's an exhale, like, okay. It wasn't, to me, to be honest with you, if I had worked that hard, I was, our experiences that same year were a lot different. Mine was go to practice, go home, get a low bite to eat, and go back and work out and keep my weight down, and I think that some people it wouldn't have worked for, but me, it kind of gave me an edge thinking I was doing that extra work. And it wasn't just about losing weight. It was about getting in better shape, fine-tuning my mental aspect of my wrestling and everything like that. But so it was like I just spent all this time and there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't let it go to waste because that would have been frustrating.
It's a grind of a sport. It can be, I mean, like I said, there's kids out there, and hopefully there's parents out there that will, on Facebook Live and put this out there for their younger kids to wrestle, because the younger ones, the ones you guys trained for Agoge, they just had their districts as well. Yeah, I mean, not every practice is a lot of fun. I mean, we've had Coach Bush on here before. He's told stories. It's a tough sport, but you get on top of that podium, and that's where it all pays off. But how did you get yourselves every day prepared to do this, and to continue to do this, practice wise and everything else, because it can tax on your body and everything else.
Yeah, that's a tricky question. You know what I mean? Because I think if we had that answer, we'd definitely exactly. We'd be millionaires here.
Yeah.
Because you could carry that into every sport. Every sport can get taxing. Every sport can get redundant. Every sport.
Oh, fair.
It's just about how you approach it, and we try to. Same with our. I guess, to be honest, I think it's different when you're going through it, because for us, and I don't want to speak for Brody, but how you're feeling, what you're focused on. We're coaching all these little kids. We have an idea what their goals are, what they're focused on, but at the end of the day, do we really know exactly how laser focused they are? I knew it was tunnel vision. That was, I remember having, I don't know, hopefully my teachers aren't listening, but I guess I'm out of high school now, so it doesn't matter. But I remember being in classes and writing my name down with my goals, just notebook after notebook after notebook, drawing pictures of me and winning and that was I'm pretty sure that was my language arts class. That was my whole notebook of that stuff. And it was just that's how, it was just that important to me. So when something's that important to you, I don't think it's very hard to get motivated to do stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah, I think the key word there is motivate. You got to find what motivates you. In high school, what motivated me was making my parents proud, making my brothers proud, following in their footsteps. My oldest brother, Bubba, he was an All-American at College. The oldest one, Brunts, he played basketball, until his freshman or sophomore year. I don't know what it was. We have a half basketball court in my backyard. So, I played basketball until I was in high school. So my parents, always tried to get us exposed to the sport and let us kind of figure out our own path. Except for soccer. There's kind of a funny story. It's quick, but apparently I came home, told my mom that soccer was my favorite sport one time after second grade. And she said, well, you better find a new family because we're a baseball family. And I never played soccer again.
I played soccer.
So, you just, again, once you get to the high school level, it's a different level than it is youth sports. And by that time, the successes are probably going to start pointing you towards a certain direction. And, I was on a lot of good teams where, I wasn't always the best guy, but I was on a team that was having success. Our baseball team, we were ranked second. The last 3 years, but we always ran into Solon, who was ranked number one, and they had 5 D1 guys. They took us out every time. But more of the story is just find what motivates you. Whether it's family, whether it's God, whether it's doing it for yourself. You got to find what fits for you and apply that, and that's what's going to get you up in the morning.
Yeah. That's a great spot to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the recruiting process in the University of Iowa and share some other stories, whatnot. But we'll be right back with Nick and Brody Grothus. Nick Trezino and Brody Grothus. You're listening to ESPN 1170. Don't hassle us, we're local.
This is Matt Koss of the Quad City Times, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Is your kitchen or bathroom embarrassing? You need them redone. But do you know a contractor that you could trust? You need an all-star. You need to call Mike at All-Star Home Services. Mike and his team have been transforming kitchens and bathrooms for over 15 years. Call today for $500 off your complete kitchen or bath project. Plus, with financing available, get your kitchen or bath done today for one low monthly payment. Call 563-299-3786 or at all-starhomeservices.com.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Roy, who is feeling older every day, and I think this is universal for people in sports, that you sort of can calendar your own age by guys you saw growing up playing when you loved sports, having kids who are now playing sports. But Roy has never felt older than he did during the break when, very sadly, he just said to me, Frank Gore's kid has enrolled at Southern Miss, and it's the first time you can remember an active athlete of any sort having a kid, but it's only because Frank Gore has been in the league 4 yards at a time since 1982.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Why would you when you still get 4 yards?
Frank Gore Jr. is going to put it on the poll, Antonio. Is Frank Gore Jr. going to retire from football sooner than Frank Gore Sr.?
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
At Casey's, we're not just here for our town. We're here for our schools. Introducing new Casey's Rewards, the new rewards program from Casey's that lets you turn your purchases into donations to your school. Sign up in the Casey's app and earn points you can turn into school donations, Casey's Cash, or fuel discounts. New Casey's Rewards. Points for school, points for you, points for fuel, points for good.
Escúchame, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
How much time did Lucio spend brushing your eyebrows?
It's just a quick little and another on the other side.
I feel like maybe save the eyebrow brushing time and focus a little more on the hair brushing time.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's another issue.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Like, what am I going to do with this and then just put, like, headphones on top of it and mess it up? Lucio, I don't want to ruin his art.
You're in the awkward stage right now of, like, the haircuts where before, obviously, you'd kind of, like, buzz it. Now it's grown to a point where it's not long enough to actually do anything with, but it's too long to just sit still.
It's one of those deals where I'm, like, thinking to myself, man, what am I going to do with my hair whenever I live on television? You're just going to have to be vulnerable, deal with the awkwardness, and then, 2 years from now, brave, baby.
How'd you guys feel about I live on television?
I have been ever since his Le Batard load management nonsense.
Yes, I didn't ask for any of this.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
36-month leases down at signing RAV4 $29.95, Corolla $25.95, Camry $37.95, plus first payment on approved credit. No security deposit, excludes tax, license, and 172 dealer fee through 3/2/20.
Our President's Day celebration is going on all month long at Highland Toyota. Drive the new 2020 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive. Just $249 a month or buy with zero down. No payments till spring to all qualified buyers. The all-new redesigned 2020 Corolla LE, only $159 a month or buy with zero down. The all-new 2020 Highlanders arriving daily. New 2020 Camry LE sedan, just $219 a month or buy with zero down. All month long is the absolute best time to buy during our President's Day celebration at Highland Toyota on John Deere Road and 53rd Street in Moline or highlandtoyota.com.
Keep your eyes open for signs of spring, unless the Astros steal them first. This is your home for the Chicago Cubs, ESPN 1170 AM.
You're listening to ESPN 1170 AM. It's Valentine's Day. It's 1:37 in the afternoon. And if you're looking for a place to take your special someone, take them to Bayside Bistro in the village of East Davenport. Bayside Bistro is not your ordinary sandwich shop. You won't find deli meat on their menu. They use fresh ingredients, and orders are made from scratch. From paninis like the Bayside Po' Boy to the roasted beet and green bean salad, Bayside Bistro has an incredible menu that specializes in deliciousness. Don't forget about their smoothies, fresh juices, and their gourmet popcorn as well. Check out their Facebook page and read the over 500 recommendations. That's at 1105 Christie Street in East Village of Davenport. And if you're looking for catering, private events, special events, get a hold of them as well. And there's gluten-free and plant-based diet menu options. Speaking of diets, gentlemen, I'm sure you were plenty of times on different type of diets when you were maintaining weight. Things have changed a little bit since you guys were there. Now, the seeding thing in the state tournament, before it was matching up districts with the number. There's an algorithm, which was about as archaic as can be. There's nothing better than the Iowa High School Athletic Association coming to wrestling and denying the fact that there was a thing called conference calls or Skype or anything else. Just be like, no, we're good. This algorithm is probably the best way. We don't need to seed it. And thank goodness it started last year, right? That they started seeding.
I think last year was the first year. Yep.
Yeah. Real quick, do you guys prefer the duels before or after the state tournament?
I honestly don't have I don't have an experience in it.
Mhm.
So I mean, when I graduated college, I was coaching at Bettendorf for I think I only coached a year, and then I went to the club or Gogi club full time. But I guess I don't have an opinion one way or another. I think as far as for the sport goes, and I don't want to steal any thunder, but we've talked about, I ran into a couple buddies the other day who coach high school now, and they said that because they're looking to get rid of that, was it sectionals?
Sectionals, yeah.
They're going to move. I'd like to see them do like a national duels, like what they ran that, where it's kind of midway through the season. I think you're going to get a lot more participation. The only thing I don't like about it being on Wednesday before state is the lack of participation. Are you really getting the best teams there? I don't think you are.
Because if you lose in the first round, might as well throw the
Or,
JV out the
and
rest of the way.
that's a potential of 3. I think 3, because they don't do a true third. You got to make the semis. So it's 3 matches no matter what. And I just think some people are like, well, 3 matches. What? I mean, you never know. It's usually pretty good competition. So the risk of injury, I don't know a lot of the thought process.
And the pros of it is that you have a junior varsity kid that now gets to wrestle
which is awesome.
in the Wells, because now they're getting used to it coming up and everything else.
But an interesting take, one of my buddies, he said, he goes, I'm not going to say what school they are, but I don't think they won one match in their duel because they wrestled their whole JV.
Yeah.
But he goes, hey, I just don't like it because I lose 4 days of training. Because if you do the regional duel on Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday are kind of treated differently because you're getting ready for a Wednesday. So even if Monday's a normal practice, Tuesday's a getting ready practice, weight cut, getting, feeling good, and then Wednesday's a duel. So there's 2 days. And then next week, Tuesday's getting ready to make weight, getting ready for a duel, and then Wednesday's the duel. So there's 4 days within a 2-week span of, 4 days of, let's say, 10 days of training for the state tournament that you lose. So you're losing 40% of your time to train.
All right, we're talking with Nick Trezino, Brody Grothis, former Quad City Prep wrestlers, former state champions, and they both wrestled for the University of Iowa. How did the recruiting process start for you, Brody? Like, who came first? At what point at what point was college wrestling like, yes, I'm going D1? When did you know?
Not till after my senior year. So heading into senior year, I thought Coe College was on the radar if I was going to wrestle. Loved Coach O and Coach Casey and those guys up there. George Mason was the only D1 school to recruit me until after I won a state championship. After I won state, I went to Virginia Beach for a national tournament, and that's stuff that I didn't do because of baseball and things like that. So, Fargo, none of that was ever even a thought for me. But once I went to Virginia Beach and actually had success out there, I got third. Then a lot of schools started to knock on my door. Schwab, Jackson from Iowa State, Manning from Nebraska, went to Oklahoma too for a visit. So I had a lot of different options. And then, all the coaches were saying, hey, make sure you're taking all your visits. We want to make sure this is a place for you. And then as soon as Coach Brands showed up, he actually came to one of my baseball games when we were playing Solon. And as soon as Iowa jumped into the picture, everybody else kind of started to panic a little bit. I love Schwab up at UNI. He's awesome dude. Yeah, he's a good dude. He was the hardest one for me to say no to. He actually bumped up my offer once that came off. You know what I mean? And not the same feelings at Iowa State with Jackson when he was there. The night that Tom and Terry first made connection with me, they called me and told me that I needed to make a decision that night, otherwise the offer was off the table. And I said, well, I don't need to call you back. I'm not coming. So they made my decision easy, and that's a good thing. But, it wasn't really until after I had success at the national level, I would say, that Iowa even became interested. And then once those guys do, and it's right in your backyard, and, growing up, even if you're not growing up wanting to be a Hawkeye, it's all present. Coach Bush, national champion at Iowa, he's always setting the bar. And if he was a national champion, I wanted to be a 2-time national champion. If he was a 3-time Big Ten champ, I wanted to be a 4-time. Just always. That's kind of just a friendly rivalry right there, I guess. But so recruiting process, it was long, it was fun, but at the end of the day, if you can be close to home, and family is a big part of wrestling for me, that was the biggest factor right there.
Nick, when did Iowa come in with you?
Probably, let's see. I don't know exactly when I got first contacted by him. I think it was earlier on, but it was real minimal. I would call it, not crazy. I think probably right around my junior years when they really started picking up with me.
Okay.
And that with Iowa, yeah.
So, I mean, it's University of Iowa wrestling. What was that like? I mean, is it? Like, you guys look at each other like you don't have secrets to share. Like you can't share secrets or whatever else. But like, I mean, there's got to be like it's being at Carver, part of that program, everything. It's got to be.
I mean, I think the big thing is there's a lot of nostalgia there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, both my dad and uncle wrestled at Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Both were All-Americans. Grew up ever since I can remember. We had going to every duel. I mean, I remember all the big matches, all the, a lot of experiences there. And so there was a lot of nostalgia there. And I think too, it's like, we've been to a lot of places to wrestle in college, and a lot of them it's hard to compare wrestling and no disrespect to anyone else, but you're wrestling some of these, it's like a high school gym. It's a high school duel when you go to these places, and you never get that at Carver. I mean, you're never under probably 5,000 or 6,000 even on a low day.
Yeah.
And that's probably probably a low ball, but so it's hard once you experience that. And I think that's the big thing what they got going now is their attendance records and their attendance at every duel. You bring recruits in and they see that. Who wouldn't want to wrestle in that,
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah. I grew up a little bit different. I didn't grow up going to Carver duels. I'd probably been to a handful, I'm sure. But, I was a kid, and to be honest with you, I always thought I performed best when the lights were on. Not that I didn't perform well when a lot of people weren't watching, things like that. But I did think my wrestling was elevated when the bright lights were on, right, on the big stage. Wrestling at Carver, being a part of the Iowa program in history, you don't really gain a true respect for it, I would say, until you're done. And now you can look back and say, yeah, I was a part of that. We both had very different careers, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But, I always tell people, I got this from Ryan Fick, my brother-in-law, is, his biggest advice for me was never let your highs get too high or your lows get too low.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay steady. And I think that's what, we try to do that as best as you can. But, wrestling for the Brands brothers, honestly, as far as mentality goes, they make you think that you can run through a brick wall, and you'll do anything. And, unfortunately or fortunately, with wrestling, it's an individual sport. There's no one, you can't point fingers to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if I would have went here, I would have been better. Hey, if I would have done this, well, yeah, you're right. It's all on you, right? Yeah. So they put you in a position to win and get better. And if you're beating everybody in the country, well, how are they going to argue with that? When you start losing, well, yeah, then they have the ability to put somebody in front of you. But until that happens, it's on you.
Yeah, you brought up Ryan. I really expected him to text me today and say, I can't believe you're having Brody on before me on the show. All right, let's share a quick story, and then I want to speed up and talk about a Go game, what you guys are doing now. All right, so we talked a little bit off the air. I used to coach at West.
Yep.
I'm a Bettner Bulldog, but I was a teacher and coach at West. Your junior year, senior year? It's your junior year.
For what?
With the meet.
No, that was...
It was
my freshman year.
No, was it?
Yeah.
All right, so your freshman year. All right, here we go. All right, but you're ranked, and we're in the middle of the duel. And this is the story. It really has more to do with Joey, your little brother.
Okay.
Bettendorf and West are wrestling. It's at West Gymnasium, and Redmond catches you. You get a little high.
Yep.
And he catches. And honestly, to be honest with you, if he caught anybody, they were done for. And I wrestled him plenty times, and I weighed more than him. He just had that, for some reason, you're not supposed to reach back. And you got a little high, he reached back, he put you on your back, he stuck you, and it was a way to win the tournament, win the duel. And I always tell everybody, I'm like, I probably jumped like enough that it probably could have dunked. That was about it. I mean, I was excited to win, and... The crazy thing about this is my version of the story, is after we get done shaking hands, and I've told Mitch this, and I've told fracking this and whatever, and I've never told you this, and every time I'm around you and Joey, I'm always like, man, I'm uneasy about this. As we're shaking hands, Joey is going through the line with you guys, so Joey has to be what?
So if I was a freshman, Joey was a 7th grader.
7th grader.
Yeah.
As we're shaking hands after Joey's near the end, and a 7th grader shoulder checks me. Joey does. And I remember turning around and looking back like, did he just shoulder check me? And he's staring at me. And I was like, wow, I guess I really upset this kid. And to this day, I'm still like uneasy around him. I'm like, I don't want him to be mad at me about this whole thing. We were talking about this story, and then you said, sharing stories about Brody. But that's the thing. No, but that's the thing about wrestlers. Like, they're humble. Like, they're always like, yeah, I wrestled that guy. And like, oh, you beat him? Like, yeah, I beat him. But it's always like, oh, yeah, I remember that match. They always remember the losses more than anything. They'd rather tell the stories about that than... If you ever run into a wrestler who talks more about the W's, right away they're suspects. Because wrestlers are the ones that the L's like, oh, yeah, that guy worked me.
Yeah.
I have tons of those stories back in my day. So. But, I mean, I always remember that story. When I first told Mitch that, he's like, you got to tell him that. And I'm like, no. That's awesome.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it was a long time
15
ago.
years later.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. He shoulder checked us when we came down. That's Joey's thing. I think he loves the shoulder check.
He's a little more hard-headed and stubborn than I am a little bit, I think. But
all right, so what's going on with Agogi?
I guess where do we start? So basically, Craig Wagner started this, bought this building, started the facility, started the club probably 6-7 years ago, let's just say. And Dan LeClaire was running it at first.
Okay, yeah.
I was up in school still. And then Dan LeClaire was in chiropractic school. So that was short term. He was graduating, moving back home, and then I was graduating college and going to come back and take over. And so that was 2014 I started doing that. And then we had a really good group of high school kids. Probably our beginners, our little kids group was probably 15 maybe kids. I mean, you see some of these videos or posts that the parents their memories pop up on Facebook and stuff. And it's like, first of all, these kids are tiny, and then 5 years later, let alone the amount of kids we had. So slowly been growing it over the years. We've had a lot of help, a lot of contributions to a lot of people. And then... What year did you graduate? You're 2 years behind me, so 2016, right? So 2016. So Brody and I we were pretty tight and actually not even in high school, really, because he was younger than me, different schools. Back then, you didn't talk to kids from other schools. I think that goes back to the social media thing. Now they're all buddies. They know everyone.
We're paddling in the same boat
we're
on that
one. You don't, shoulder check-in kind of stuff, right?
Now they're like hugging each other, taking photos
high
together.
High fives. They each got
Doesn't
secret
make any sense
handshakes.
to me. Yeah.
So Brody came back and he was... I think I kind of talked to him briefly, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, thanks, no." He kind of liked it. He liked what? You're 2 years away. 2 years. He took a 2-year hiatus, we'll call it, away from wrestling. He wanted to do some racing, do some other stuff. He can tell you about that. But so then I had one of my buddies, high school buddies who wrestled with me, Matt Versilla, was helping me. Joey always coached at the Bettendorf Club, and so he was doing that, and then. Matt moved away. I had a buddy, actually it worked out really well, Phil Sheridan. He was a state champ from Colorado that wrestled with us in college. His wife was in PA school at St. Ambrose, so they were back here for, I think, a year and a half or two, whatever it was, and they went, and then he moved away. But in the meantime, I finally said, all right, Brody, you've had enough time away. You know what I mean? And, there's some other offers on the table, and I just, I think he wanted to ease into it a little bit, and I knew that telling him, hey, you can come as you want. You know what I mean? If you want to come once a month, come once a month. We'll hook you up. We'll pay you a little bit, and because I knew as soon as we got a really good group of kids, parents, and everything that's really all in and doing things the right way. And I knew as soon as I was like, it doesn't matter. He can come once a month, and again, guarantee after 2 months he's hooked, and he'll never miss a practice. So unless someone asks him to go golf, and then he might miss a practice. But so it's just. Every year it's more, bigger, and then this year it's kind of really blown up. I think we're averaging probably 60-some kids a month recently, and that's just our one group. We have a beginners group that, thank God, we only go once a week with for 1 hour because they're it's fun, but they'll test you. And we got a really good group of kids, young kids, that really high-level kids. So
yeah,
and now I think.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, you guys, when they test you guys are like, "I was never this way. I was always perfect out there."
Exactly.
I listen to all my coaches.
Yeah.
Coaches along the way that taught you some important lessons that you carry through your life.
Yeah, for me, so growing up or going to Assumption, we didn't have a kids club, and my dad wasn't technically a sports guy. I wouldn't put him as that. He's very talented in a lot of different ways, but my dad started the Rising Knights Club, and got the right people involved. So as a youth coach, I know there's a balancing act there. It's a team effort. Nick and I don't do this by ourselves. We've got Grant Jip, who's there every single night, whether his kids are sick or not, helping us with attendance and making sure people are paid up to date and, apparel, things like that, all sorts of things that he's doing. So it's really a group effort. So, my dad was a huge influencer for me. He got the right people involved. And then, Coach Bush, obviously we've talked about him enough. We like to toot his horn whenever we can. But, I would say those two, along with my brother, Bubba, probably the biggest impact on me. I mean, Pribble from Indiana, Euchre at Iowa. I mean, look at that. We had 3 guys that wrestled D1 in our room right there. So having those guys in your room, you're naturally going to just get better.
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of same thing. Like, so my dad started the Veteran Wrestling Club. We have a picture when Joey and I were really young, and it's us being in probably first grade, and he was probably maybe not even if I was in first grade, he wasn't in kindergarten yet. And then you got all the way up to the Brubrescos, and I think your brother was in the pictures with us.
Yeah, probably.
And so, but it's 25 kids between senior in high school and a kid that's not even in kindergarten yet. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
What it's done now, and and then my dad was a big influence all the way up. And then obviously once Coach Knight came and his, all those coaches that came with him, it was like a switch flicked kind of for me. Cause, so my dad always helped out. And then kind of once they came, he kind of stepped back a little bit and said, all right, they've got you. You know what I mean? And I think the big thing for me in coaching is, you got to find people. Well, as far as an athlete, looking back, it's like the biggest thing is you find other people that believe in you. My dad always believed in me and said I could be the best and this and that, but he's my dad. He has to say that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like you don't say thank you for him telling you could do that, but you'd be pissed if if he said, oh, you're not good enough to do that. You know what I mean? But I think what was the big reiteration, especially if you want to go back to our earlier conversation about the state tournament stuff, is my first 2 years, I don't know quite if I truly believed in myself to be able to be that good. I think I probably could have been or was that good, just whether I believed in it or not was probably the name of the game. And maybe it was my maturity, or maybe no one, but all of a sudden you got junior year, I got a whole new set of coaches coming in basically that, I'm familiar with. We went to KWA on Sundays all growing up and this and that in Clinton, but he was still Knight was still coaching at Clinton, where now all of a sudden he comes in and I've got him, Adam Grell, Colin Wicken all telling me that I'm going to be a state champ. I'm like, wow, these guys don't really know me and they believe in me. You know what I mean? That was huge for me. And they weren't even just saying it. They truly believed in it. So that was, I think as far as coaches that really, it's nothing it was nothing they showed me. I don't think I was any different of a wrestler as far as technique or anything like that. It's just my mindset changed.
Before we go, any advice, anything extra you guys want to give to any wrestlers out there that are going into districts tomorrow?
Yeah, I one more comment there, a little bit about Agogi, a little bit, and kind of our direction that we're headed. We're going to be adding to the staff, and our big thing is keep surrounding ourselves with good people, good kids. The kids that we want in that club are the kids that are going to push each other and that are going to be on each other's sides. Wrestling, it's an individual sport, right? But there is a team sense at the end of the day that you take care of business. You're not just going into battle by yourself. You got all these people behind you. So advice to the kids wrestling tomorrow. If it's been a long grind season on you, and you're over it and you're tired of making weight, things like that, guess what? You got what, 1 week left. Make it a 1 week season. All this work that you've put in the past and in the summer and the leading up, guess what? It won't be worth it unless you get your mind right for tomorrow. If you lost the guy, who cares? It scores 0-0 tomorrow and you step on the line. Everybody's records are 0-0. It doesn't matter. That's what the beautiful thing about wrestling is that, guess what? Every match starts 0-0, so you can make of it what you want.
Yeah, I think kind of going on with that is, we touched on it earlier, is do what you do. You know what I mean? Don't change what you do. Keep doing what you do. The other thing, too, is sitting here now in our standpoint is enjoy it. It goes quick. You know what I mean? So really enjoy it. Take time to make sure you're still having fun. That's the biggest thing. Even with our club, I have 3 goals with our club. Get better from this time this year to next year. We want you improved. We want you working hard, and we want you to have fun. And if you're doing those things, you're going to be in the right spot. And second thing, I mean, you got to look at now more from a coaching standpoint. This is the most important tournament of the year, because if you don't get past this, next week doesn't matter.
They can find Agogi on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Summit Training Center on Facebook and Agogi on Twitter.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a blast. I hope some of the kids take everything you said to heart, and it's very nice talking with you guys. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later. You guys have a hassle-free weekend. Take care, Quad Cities. Enjoy yourselves.
70 AM, KBOB, Davenport.